Why do some people seem unbreakable? Why do they wake up at dawn, train for hours, resist every temptation, and never seem to lose control while the rest of us struggle to keep even the simplest promises to ourselves? Why do some people have an iron will, while others feel like their lives are ruled by impulse, distraction, and regret? Maybe you've felt it too. You set a goal, wake up early, eat healthy, stop scrolling, start working out. For a few days, you're on fire. But then, the old habits creep back in. You hit snooze, you reach for junk food, you lose another hour to your phone, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why can't I control myself? But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the way you've been taught to think about self-control? What if the secret to unbreakable discipline was discovered centuries ago in the training halls of the samurai warriors who mastered their minds as fiercely as they mastered their swords? Today, I'm going to reveal ancient samurai method that can give you iron self-control starting tonight. This isn't a motivational trick or a productivity hack. It's a system forged in battle, tested by time, and proven by science. If you're ready to stop fighting yourself and start winning, keep watching. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the forgotten code of the samurai, a method that can help you break free from the cycle of self-sabotage and build a mind as sharp and steady as a katana. You'll learn how these warriors train their brains to obey, even in the face of fear, pain, and temptation. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step blueprint to start using the samurai method in your own life. You'll see how ordinary people have used these principles to conquer addiction, transform their bodies, and achieve goals they once thought impossible. But there's a catch. This method isn't about willpower. It's about identity. It's about becoming someone who simply cannot break their word to themselves or anyone else. If you're looking for a shortcut, this isn't it. But if you're ready for real, lasting change, let's begin. Before we dive in, I want you to do something powerful. In the comments below, write down the one habit or temptation that always breaks your self-control. Make it public. Declare it. Because the first step to mastery is honesty. And if you're serious about transformation, hit subscribe and join this community. Every week, we explore the ancient wisdom and modern science that can help you become unbreakable. Now, let's step onto the path of the samurai. Let me tell you a story. It's about a young man named Daichi. Daichi grew up in modern Tokyo, but his life was chaos. He was smart, but scattered. He wanted to be fit, focused, and successful, but every day felt like a battle against his own mind. He'd wake up with good intentions, study hard, eat clean, train at the gym, but by noon, he was lost in distractions. Social media, snacks, endless YouTube videos. He'd promise himself, tomorrow, will be better, but tomorrow never came. Daichi's friends seemed just as lost. They talked about goals, but nothing changed. They blamed their phones, their jobs, their parents, the world. But deep down, Daichi knew the real enemy was inside. One night, after another day wasted, Daichi stumbled across an old book in his grandfather's study. The cover was worn, the pages yellowed. The title, Bushido, The Way of the Warrior. It was the code of the samurai, the ancient warriors of Japan. As Daichi read, he realized these men weren't just fighters. They were masters of self-control. They lived by a code that demanded discipline, honor, and unbreakable will. They faced death without fear, temptation without flinching, and hardship without complaint. Daichi wondered, could these ancient teachings help him conquer his own mind? Could the way of the samurai give him the self-control he'd always wanted? The more Daichi read, the more he realized that the samurai's secret wasn't brute force or endless willpower. It was a system, a way of living that made self-control automatic. At the heart of Bushido, the samurai code, were 7 virtues: Gi integrity, Yu courage, Jin compassion, Rei respect, Makoto honesty, Meiyo honor, and Chugi loyalty. But the real magic was in how they trained these virtues every single day. The samurai believed that self-control wasn't something you summoned in moments of crisis. It was something you built, brick by brick, through daily rituals, public vows, and relentless practice. They didn't wait for motivation. They created an environment where failure was unthinkable. Daichi learned about the concept of Seigen, the sacred vow. Before every battle, a samurai would make a public declaration of his intent. He would state his mission, his code, and his commitment in front of his peers. Breaking this vow wasn't just a personal failure, it was a stain on his honor, a betrayal of his identity. He also discovered Keiko, the practice of relentless repetition. Samurai didn't train for hours when they felt like it. They trained at the same time, in the same way, every single day. The ritual was sacred. The schedule was non-negotiable. And then there was Mushin, the state of no mind. Through meditation and discipline, the samurai learned to silence the inner voice of doubt, fear, and temptation. They acted without hesitation, without negotiation, without second guessing. Daichi realized that the samurai method wasn't about fighting yourself. It was about becoming someone who simply does what must be done no matter what. Daichi decided to start with Seigen. He wrote down his goal. I will wake up at 5 o'clock a.m. every day for 30 days and train for 1 hour. But instead of keeping it private, he made it public. He told his family, his friends, and even posted it online. At first, it felt dramatic, maybe even embarrassing. But that was the point. The samurai understood that when you make a vow in public, you raise the stakes. You turn a wish into a matter of honor. You make failure more painful than effort. Daichi's friends laughed. His parents doubted. But every morning, when the alarm rang, he remembered his vow. The thought of facing his friends and admitting defeat was worse than the pain of getting up. This is the first secret of iron self-control. Make your commitment public. Declare your intent. Raise the stakes. Turn your goal into a matter of honor, not just desire. If you want to break free from the cycle of broken promises, start with Seigen. Write down your goal. Tell someone. Post it in the comments below. Make it real. The next step was Keiko, relentless, ritualized practice. The samurai didn't rely on motivation. They relied on ritual. Every day, at the same time, they trained their bodies and minds. The schedule was sacred. The practice was non-negotiable. Daichi set his alarm for 5 o'clock a.m. He laid out his clothes the night before. He prepared his training space. When the alarm rang, there was no debate, no negotiation. No, just 5 more minutes. He moved like a samurai, deliberate, disciplined, automatic. At first, it was hard. His body resisted. His mind screamed for comfort. But as the days passed, the ritual became easier. The resistance faded. The habit stuck. Keiko isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every day, no matter what. Over time, the practice becomes part of who you are. If you want iron self-control, build a ritual. Pick a time. Pick a place. Make it non-negotiable. Don't wait for motivation. Let the ritual carry you. Even with public vows and daily rituals, Daichi still faced moments of weakness. Some mornings, his mind was a battlefield. Doubt, fear, and temptation whispered in his ear. That's when he discovered Mushin, the state of no mind. The samurai trained themselves to act without hesitation, without negotiation, without the endless chatter of the inner critic. Through meditation, breathwork, and focused attention, Daichi learned to quiet his mind. When the alarm rang, he didn't think. He moved. When temptation called, he didn't argue. He acted. Mushin isn't about suppressing thoughts. It's about letting them pass without attachment. It's about becoming the observer, not the victim of your mind. If you want to master self-control, practice Mushin. Meditate daily. Focus on your breath. When the urge to break your vow arises, notice it, but don't engage. Let it pass. Return to your ritual. Of course, Daichi's journey wasn't perfect. There were days he missed his alarm, days he skipped his training, days he wanted to quit. But the samurai had a saying, fall 7 times, stand up 8. Failure wasn't the end. It was part of the process. When Daichi slipped, he didn't hide. He owned it. He told his friends. He reflected on what went wrong. He adjusted his environment, setting 2 alarms, preparing his clothes, asking a friend to check in. The samurai believed that honor wasn't about never failing. It was about never giving up. Every setback was a lesson. Every failure was a chance to recomment. If you stumble, don't hide. Own your failure, learn from it, stand up, and begin again. As Daichi continued his journey, he discovered that modern science had finally caught up with the wisdom of the samurai. Neuroscientists have found that public commitments activate the brain's social circuits, making failure feel like a threat to your identity. This raises the stakes and increases follow-through. Ritualized habits reduce decision fatigue. When you do the same thing at the same time every day, your brain stops negotiating. The behavior becomes automatic, freeing up willpower for more important tasks. Mindfulness and meditation strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control. Over time, you become less reactive, more focused, and more resilient. The samurai didn't have brain scans or psychology textbooks, but they understood, through centuries of practice, how to build a mind that obeys. Weeks passed. Daichi's life began to change. He woke up before dawn, trained without fail, and felt a new sense of power. His friends noticed. His parents were amazed. But the real change was inside. Daichi no longer saw himself as weak or undisciplined. He saw himself as a warrior, someone who keeps his word, no matter what. The temptations didn't disappear. The distractions didn't vanish. But Daichi had become someone who simply did what needed to be done. The struggle was over. The battle was won. This is the true gift of the samurai method. It's not about fighting yourself. It's about becoming someone who cannot break their own code. Look at the comments below this video. You'll see people just like you struggling, striving, declaring their vows, supporting each other. This isn't just a channel, it's a dojo, a training hall for the mind. In the samurai tradition, warriors trained together. They held each other accountable. They celebrated victories and learned from defeats. If you're ready to change, don't do it alone. Share your vow, encourage others, celebrate progress, no matter how small. Together, we can forge a community of modern warriors, one habit, one promise, one day at a time. Now, it's your turn. I challenge you to take the first step on the samurai path. Seigen, write down your goal. Make it public. Post it in the comments. Tell a friend. Raise the stakes. Keiko, build a ritual. Pick a time. Pick a place. Make it non-negotiable. Show up every day. Mushin, practice mindfulness. Meditate daily. When temptation arises, notice it, but don't engage. Let it pass. Honor, when you fall, stand up. Own your failure. Learn, adjust, and recommit. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one habit, one vow, one ritual. Start today. Share your journey. Support others. Remember, the samurai didn't become masters overnight. They became unbreakable through daily practice, public vows, and relentless commitment. You can too. If this video inspired you, if you're ready to start your journey, subscribe to the channel and join our dojo. Every week, we explore the wisdom that can help you become the person you were meant to be. And before you go, declare your vow in the comments. What habit will you master? What ritual will you build? Your words might inspire someone else to begin. The path of the samurai is open to all. The only question is, will you take the first step? Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.